Let's start out with a Call of Duty video. So lately we've been watching like a bunch of different creators. Call of Duty basically all say more or less the same thing about the game falling apart, and I mean a bunch of bad things, like a bunch of bad things. And someone I haven't watched their opinion on yet is my buddy who recently turned the same age as me, E. coli espresso or Jordan or shit coffee, depending on who you ask. And I kind of want to see his opinion on everything going on. So we got his video. It's just simple title about the state of Black Ops 6. Let's hear what he has to say. Maybe.
So much that can be said, or so many times that we can repeat the same sentiment, but Black Ops 6 needs help. I'm not going to daily upload saying how much this game's broken, how garbage it is for the performative clicks, because once you say it once, what good does repeating it the same thing over and over do other than fan the flames?
All right, I don't know if you guys saw this. I tweeted yesterday, and let me see if I can find it real quick. Man, okay, yeah, I tweeted yesterday. And all I said is, with the state of Call of Duty, I think it's really important to mention that there are two people making videos and content around Black Ops 6 failing. People who want Call of Duty to fail and people who want Call of Duty to be great. When you're looking at content, try to decide what type of content that falls under. Well put. A bunch of people said nice things. He said, nope, you're allowed to be positive in your criticism. And that's what I'm saying. If you want the game to succeed, you're probably going to be positive in your criticism. And then we have people like BT and things like that maybe are overly critical. And it's hard to tell whether or not they want the game to be good or not. Like, you would think that everyone watching this would want the game to be good. But at the end of the day, I don't know if that is actually the case, right? There is certainly people that just want to see Call of Duty fail. Like, if there is, like, look at sports, for example. If there is like a mammoth of a team, like the Patriots when Brady played on them, yeah, they're going to get a lot of fans because Brady is incredible and he wins Super Bowls and they're good every single year. But you're also going to get the people who do not want their team to win ever because they just want to cheer for the underdog and want the giant to fall. So there's always going to be both sides of things. And some people just like to hate on things. There's that side of things too. But Jordan, I would say, definitely falls into the positivity camp and wants the game to be better.
I think at its core, Black Ops 6 is a fundamentally solid game, but it goes without saying it's been wholly mismanaged from the top down so far,
that's a good way of putting it.
Since the launch of Season 1. I don't mean to dogpile with this, I don't mean to be repetitive in nature to what we've discussed already on the channel, and I don't want to be a doomer. We've already uploaded less, only 3 times this year in the 7 days we've already experienced so far, as opposed to what would have been an average of at least 6 to 7 days of that first week of the year by comparison to what's normal for the channel. We've also uploaded one of those 3 videos on an entire...
So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I think I've uploaded 3 videos this month for the main channel. Like literally 3 videos, which is super low for me. I'm getting in the swing of things with a couple of editors, and we're working on some big stuff. So yeah, that'll be coming very, very soon. And in fact, after the stream today, that's what I'm going to be working on. But yeah, I've been putting a lot of effort into the second channel, getting ready for streams, things like that. So there'll be even more content going on there. But yeah, it's definitely a change of things.
Entirely different game. So if I'm not enjoying the game, I won't upload it as much or at all. And I feel like the biggest impact one can make to take a stand is by simply not playing the game or buying what's in the game. I mean, there's tons of other stuff you could be playing otherwise.
Sure.
Delta Force for shooter fans, Marvel Rivals is...
Serious question, chat. We already played Marvel Rivals on stream. We're going to play that more. There's Delta Force, and then there's this Arma. I haven't even reforged, I think it's called. I kind of want to check out those games on stream. Do you guys have any interest in doing that?
Is taking the internet by storm. There's plenty of other stuff that right now you can probably find yourself enjoying in the gaming space. There's plenty I know that I still need to do to get in my backlog. Still never played Cyberpunk, so that's up there for me, definitely in the forefront. But I just feel like we need to discuss this sort of infinality, the stuff that's been eating away at me in the COD situation currently, that I wanted to talk about this here today. So for anyone who doesn't know, here's a bit of why people are mad at COD lately. There's just a bunch of rampant issues. One of the big ones is cheating. And yes, I know that cheating is a scapegoat thing that a lot of people use. I've used it before where it's a knee-jerk reaction of like, how did I die? He's got to be cheating type of thing.
So if you guys don't know who Lunchtime is, my friends are getting back into DMZ. Interesting. So if you don't know who Lunchtime is, he's heavy into the competitive scene. and he was like one of the first people I saw be like, dude, you can't even play ranked play. And he's heavy into ranked play, and he's very good at the game. I've met him, and he was super nice dude. And he's been one of the people driving that like push to be like, I love this game, man. I love this game, and I want to play ranked play, and I can't.
But no, this is legitimate. Like, there is absolutely no sign of Ricochet anti-cheat where it matters. Ranked and unranked modes both have this problem, but ranked is absolutely 1000% worse in both Black Ops 6 ranked play and in Warzone ranked play. Like, the top levels of each of these are to the point where you will run into a cheater. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There's also, as a result of this and independent of that, just kind of crossing over, server instability is wild at the moment. Like, servers in public matches, you'll see a ton of packet loss, you'll see a ton of skipping and all that
I need to use that kill streak more
kind of stuff. But when it relates back to the cheating issue, surprisingly, even cheaters have the ability now to straight up crash whole games.
Which is
like
wild.
Some of my friends who are
okay. Side note, who remembers this? Who remembers when, like, there was a time where Call of Duty had they were P2P servers, so that you weren't connecting to a server, you were connecting to another person, and that's where you were playing the game off of. And then at one point, if that person left the game would just end. And then there was something called host migration. And if you were really entrenched in the Call of Duty community, there was a podcast called Host Migration with CNanners, Hutch, and someone else. And like, it was a whole thing, right? And like, now we've gotten away from that, but people forget about that. That was like a whole thing for like a really long time.
Still grinding this out in the content space, grinding ranked play, streaming every single day. They'll play like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 games fully through in a ranked session of like 4-hour spans. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Games last at longest for Warzone 20 to 25 minutes.
That's what I was going to say.
So you're telling me in a 4-hour span, people are only going to be completing 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those, and everything else is crashing out, causing them to get SR loss, suspensions, and all that kind of stuff? That's ridiculous. There's also tons of bugs still persisting. Even things that were supposedly fixed were not.
So this is one thing that they addressed in the recent update. They're like, we try to fix everything we can, and sometimes the fix works on our end, and when we put it live, it doesn't go live. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one about the vermin hitting twice. That's what they addressed in the like blog post that they put out, in like a saying sorry kind of thing. Still not okay. But like, yeah, they're not going to be perfect.
Actually the case. They weren't fixed, and they're instead pushed back to Season 2. The launch of that still being weeks away at this point. So the community reception of all of this is they're begging for fixes to things that are plaguing the issues of the game, which again, foundationally speaking, the core gameplay itself, I personally think isn't all that bad compared to prior years we've had. But when you have all these other issues that just absolutely interfere with your ability to even play the
You're looking for a boyfriend? You should probably try Tinder.
game, that's
Apparently
a
that
huge
app's
issue.
wild.
But you know what we get instead? Releases of more and more bundles on a daily basis.
So this is like the
And
biggest complaint
it's
right
like,
now.
Things are just not even wrong from the perspective of Call of Duty. They're just not acknowledging any of these issues that are very clearly there. I mean, the time since the last update from Treyarch, or the sentiment from anybody surrounding we're fixing things for COD updates or Call of Duty, it's just, you can't go far enough back here to see them say, hey, we messed up type of deal.
So yeah, so Dougie just said, Milo said that the communications on the last patch notes for zombies is what COD needs. 100%. Like, but you also have to like remember that they can't say everything, because number one, they need the surprise of new stuff coming out. So that's one thing. And then number two is I don't just see it happening, and this is bull. It should. You should be able to come forward immediately and say, hey, we screwed up this update. We were working our butts off on it, and this is what needs to be fixed right now, and it should be live tomorrow. And then if it's not live tomorrow, you go and say, okay, we're still working on this. Give us like 6 hours. Like, we're really working on this. Like, just like that kind of. But the problem with Call of Duty is there's too many cooks in the kitchen. If they were able to do that, say they had one person was working in the media department, and they came in and they were like, okay, I'm going to get in contact with Warzone. I'm going to get in contact with Raven, and I'm going to ask them what's going on with this fix. This is the statement they give me. Okay, I'm going to put that out on Twitter. The problem is that's not what happens. There's a team of people working in communication for just the Twitter account, say for Call of Duty. They need to get in contact with the communication team for Raven. Raven's communication team needs to get in contact with the people working on the fix. They need to report back. They need to tell the communication team, and then the communication team needs to craft a post. That post needs to go to legal. Legal needs to come back, and then that post needs to go live. What world is that a good thing? It's not.
I mean, when you look at even just the last times they've tweeted, Treyarch hasn't tweeted since the update on the 3rd. COD updates hasn't tweeted in 2 days, and other than that was only small bugs that were mentioned.
Mainly
and
about
Call of Duty is still tweeting once a day, but 3 of the last 4 days have been about bundles or microtransactions. So the shop's never broken, by the way. Just keep that in mind. But no one of these official channels has come out and acknowledged the community sentiment once. In the past, we've seen things like, we hear you, changes are coming, blah, 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 blah. But at least at that point, they're saying, hey, like, this is what we...
It's still crazy that this game went from loved to hated so quickly, and I think Black Ops 6 is a pretty good game, still has some issues. It's just because it wasn't kept up. Like, if you're going to treat your game like a live service game, you can't just have it be in shambles constantly. And the problem with Call of Duty is when most things break is when they're on Christmas break. And maybe they need to take a look and be like, okay, maybe we need to release our game in January when no one is going on Christmas break a month after the game comes out, when it should be supported the most. It'll never happen because they want to launch before Christmas, but you need to plan for that.
We know is an issue.
And I'm not saying the devs shouldn't have a Christmas break.
The craziest part about this is that COD is just skipping along the calendar, acting like nothing's wrong and everyone's happy, when that's just not the case. I mean, today's tweet about the VIP bundle got ratioed 8 dozen times.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, like, at least come out and say, hey, we know there's issues. Here's a preview of what's still to come. We had this around Christmas whenever they did end up putting out a tweet saying, hey, we have some changes. But when you say it's going
to take months to fix the problems you're having, that's another issue altogether.
But those have still not been implemented, even after another title update has gone out. There's no word on when those will come out, and there's still so many other unacknowledged issues that still are in play that, again, nobody said a word on. To me, the bigger root problem here is also an annual problem.
Yep,
this is what I was just saying. Every single year at this time, this happens. Every single year like clockwork. I don't know what exactly it is, whether it's the introduction of the integrations with Warzone, the introduction of the shops every single year at Season 1, where everything turns to a monetary farm factory, the events as of recent years. You could probably pinpoint a dozen.
It's not the events. These events... Okay, you want to know what to do with the events? Look at the difference between the event right now in Marvel Rivals and the events in Black Ops 6. One does them incredibly well and one does them horribly. Plain and simple. That's all I need to say about that.
For Season 1. But every single year without fail, this happens. Like, I can almost guarantee that every year the sentiment will be excitement leading up to the launch of the next game. A, for the most part, well-received launch with new maps, modes, weapons, camos, and all for people to grind out. This year in particular, we had even more stuff like 100%er. You had Prestige to end up grinding through Prestige Master once you got through 10 Prestiges. Zombies was good at launch, a very solid campaign. But then comes Season 1, every single year, you're right back to this game is absolute dog shit for the community sentiment. So why when the blueprint is there every single year are things not changed? Season 1 as a whole, and this year in particular, is such a prime example. Solid core game, Season 1 launched, and immediately I knew there was going to be a problem before jumping into any game of the integration.
Sorry, I know Jordan very well, and like he's not on face cam right now, but I know him well enough where I can immediately, like when he says immediately, I know exactly what his face is looking like as he says that. I don't know, I found it funny.
The minute you saw the battle pass was going to end the end of January, like the very end here, I think the timer is set for the 29th or something like that, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is like right around when those days actually don't match up. So you could probably add a day or two to that time.
Oh, that's a good point.
10 to 11 week seasons are way too long. Yes. And it's only exacerbated by the fact that studios go on holiday for 2 to 3 weeks shortly after its launch of Season 1, when a lot of these problems do pile up. And that's the problem. Like, I don't think that we'd have nearly as much issues with this game's reception if there was stuff queued up for fixes after the holiday break. Like, yes, we got an update on January 3rd when people were coming back into the office. That didn't fix nearly anything. And I get it. Everyone deserves time off for the holidays to relax.
I'm personally avoiding making videos on the State of COD. If you're going to, just know that to not look at your comments. Like,
and have
if you're
time
gonna give
with
your
friends and
opinion,
family. But to come
it's
back
gonna get roasted.
with nothing really ready to go, minus
like this right now is gonna go on my second channel. I will look at the comments for like a couple hours, but I'm not. I don't really take my own advice. I look at my comments all the time, but you can't take them personally. If you're gonna take them personally, then you can't look at your comments. But like, if you look at your comments, there's just going to be a bunch of people who want to dump all over you, who agree with other people, or who think skill-based damage is real.
playlists, a weak update that didn't fix much of anything at all, and then new shop bundles to roll out throughout the time when people are frustrated. Well, that's frustrating for a tame description of it. The fact that the problems that we've had persisting since the Season 1 launch still at least have another 3 weeks to go is insane. And it's no wonder that Steam charts have been displaying a ton of lost players. It's no wonder that we're starting to see Call of Duty on Xbox and PlayStation, those Circana reports, slowly slipping down the leaderboards here at this. I think the thing that bothers me the most when considering updates and having covered them for a decade now is the consistent choice of Call of Duty, regardless of studio, regardless of what game it is, to hold an update for another seasonal update instead of dropping it immediately. There's a level of leeway on this.
This is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting what he's saying here.
Something out too quickly that causes more bugs. I get that that's an absolute reality that could happen. But then there's also the willingness to withhold fixes to drop all at once in a major update like we've seen the last few years. But with Season 1...
Like a perfect example of what he is saying here is, okay, they're waiting for Season 2 or Season 3 for Ricochet to be fixed. Why can't Ricochet just be fixed on its own? Why?
Having still so many of the same issues, hell, even things down to just small challenge tracking. Like the Season 1 Prestige challenge for the Flowing Low challenge has been broken since Season 1, even after 2 updates, the Mid-Season Reloaded update and this January 3rd update for the Squid Games event. Still broken through all that kind of stuff. Like, you can't tell me that there aren't some things there that are smaller that have fixes just sitting there and waiting. Like, I fully will be the first to tell you that I do not know the intricacies of game dev. I'm not even going to pretend like I do, but some things absolutely should have been fixed by now. And that's a bad example.
So yeah, when Warzone updated, almost every, like when Warzone came out this year, like the beginning of Season 1, at that point we were getting like 3 updates a week. And then Christmas break comes around and Ricochet's broken, servers are crap. I bet you they never address the servers. I'll put money on it. But the big things, the big issues they're not addressing.
Like, that's a very baseline small example. There's obviously way more things that are larger problems that should have been fixed by now, but just for the sake of talking about small things that slip through the cracks. Like, issues that players have pointed out since Season 1's launch are being held until at least Season 2's update, for what it seems like. I mean, pending no change, that there's something coming in the next couple of days to weeks before Season 2 launches, but we wouldn't also know about that because no one's communicating with the player base.
True.
It's just this
communication
circular loop of a feedback loop that unfortunately is getting louder and louder and louder the longer that there's just no fixes being made here to this.
Or
so
their team's
I'm
just
probably
bad,
not going to
I'm
be talking
sure.
about this much anymore. My position's out there. I think that something's got to give. Any feedback that I can personally run directly up the chain, I have. I've communicated what I need to for the people that will listen and that I have access to. Otherwise, I'm beating a dead horse. It'd be performative outrage if I keep uploading this sort of sentiment when I've already said what I can, already relayed what I can. I'd rather create helpful guides, informational stuff on other games and all, instead of profiting off your collective outrage. So I'm just trying to stick to my sort of New Year's resolution. If I'm not having a good time, I'm just not going to engage with it. I haven't been playing Black Ops 6. I am still only like 8 challenges away from 100% or something like that.
Wow.
And being so close, I just don't have it in me to go for it because the game is in such a bad spot that I don't want to play it. And clearly we haven't been covering it as much in 2025 so far, even to the detriment of my own income. So that's my piece. Fingers crossed something final.
That's kind of where I am. I could make videos every day on the main channel and I could dump all over the game every single day and make a lot more money than what I'm doing. I have a channel that is for my opinions. It's for talking about things like this. And that's what we do over there. And yeah, if I uploaded this on the main channel, it would get a lot more views. But I want that to be for a specific thing. I want story videos to be on there. I want some things that I'm working on to be over there. I want like these I want it to be every time you watch a video on Ink Slasher, I want it to be like there to be a story that's told. I don't just want my opinions to come across. I want to either like tell the story of how the numbers are messed up in Call of Duty right now or what has happened there. Like I can still report on news, but I want to do it in a way that tells a story. Whereas on the second channel, I want it to be just about opinions, talking to the community, more that style thing.
Definitely gives, because something has
sense.
to at this point. To me, it's just a huge bummer to personally think about this. I think being one of the better CODs in recent years, fundamentally, again, with so much stuff to do in terms of 100%er, camo grinds, sort of different challenges, a good campaign, a good zombies mode, multiplayer. I don't mind as much as other people do, but it's just one of those things that I feel like this year it's just self-destructing on itself. I don't know why they're choosing to do half the things they're doing when it seems like just very basic and simple things to fix to make people happy. So that said, that's my piece. That's where I'm at. But let me know your thoughts.
I want to be clear. I don't think it's the fixes that they need to make are simple, but they're doable.
Drop your thoughts
and they
down
should
below.
have been
Drop
done
a like
already.
if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things.
Yeah, go subscribe to Jordan. He's a great guy and a friend of mine. So here's the thing. Here's the honesty coming in, right? The things that need to be fixed need to be fixed. Not like we would like them, like the calling cards and stuff like that. Need to be fixed for the game to be playable. Anti-cheat, servers, right? It's those two. It's just said and done. That's what needs to be fixed. It's not really a question. It's just the way that it is. That is what needs to be fixed. And if it is not fixed, people are not going to play the game. If the game doesn't feel good and you feel like you don't have a fighting chance, you're not going to be playing the game. Plain and simple. Like that should be done tomorrow. They should be like, there should be someone out there spending millions on better servers, and there should be someone out there that's like cracking the whip and being like, this anti-cheat needs to work, right? But yeah, Dead Guy, appreciate it, and that's really all there is to say about it. It's plain and simple. The state of Call of Duty, it needs to be fixed. That's it.